Is there, oh, I think we can get started.
Yeah, I think we can.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this session. So happy to see so many people in the room. My name is Nellie, and with me here in this session, I have Mo.
Yeah, do you want to press the next?
Yeah, I want to do. I can hold it.
Go for it, Nellie.
And yeah, we are super excited to be here. I lead data science and AI in Fabric, and
I am Mohammad Ali, float like a bee, sting like a butterfly, and I look after product for Power BI.
Yes, and we are, again, super excited to be here talking to you about AI in Fabric. So some fun facts about us before we get started, and you really don't have to give us candy after the session. We wanted to share our favorite candies with you, just so you know. So my favorite candy is salt licorice milk chocolate, because I grew up in Sweden, and that's a thing. And Mo, yours is kind of boring.
I'm not I don't have many good taste buds. I like very simple things. So gummy bears, please send them my way. Highly recommend.
Yes. So now that you know that, let's get to the content of this session, because we have a packed agenda for you. We're going to talk to you about AI in Fabric, right? So we're going to start with all the different types of AI experiences in Fabric, kind of getting you that overview, but also a bit of a deep dive into some of these experiences. We have an exciting customer story where one of our customers is going to join on stage and talk about their experience using AI in Fabric. And of course, throughout this session, you're going to get sneak peeks and lots of information about our roadmap ahead. All right, so let's get started.
Awesome.
All right, so Microsoft Fabric, well, you all probably know something about Fabric. But today, when we're going to talk about AI in Fabric, one thing you should know is really that AI is infused in every single part of Fabric. It's actually part of the platform where any user in Fabric, regardless of your role, actually has access and will be able to leverage AI to be more productive. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So regardless of all of these different workloads or types of experiences that you're seeing spanning across analytics, but not just analytics these days, also for, we added transactional databases like SQL Server into Fabric. Basically, if you work with data, you will be able to use generative AI to do your job faster, to be much more productive and all of that. So, but the way that we usually frame AI in Fabric is that it's good for you to kind of think about different types of AI experiences. This is actually going to help you to navigate, all of these sessions around like, Copilot in Fabric or other AI experiences, because Copilot is not the only AI-powered experience in Fabric. In fact, we have a lot of developers, creators in Fabric that are developing and creating, let's say, reports, right, Mo?
Yep.
And authoring code in notebooks, using Spark, using data flows, using data pipelines. So all of these things essentially are powering the creator experiences. So we're going to start by going through each one of these, and hopefully at the end of the session, you have a good sense of the types of AI experiences that Fabric can offer. So starting with Copilot, and I'm sure all of you have heard about Copilot. I think that's all we hear about at this conference, right? That Copilot really is about boosting that productivity. And so what do we have when it comes to Copilot in Fabric, right? And you probably have seen a lot of demos already in the past year around Copilot experiences in Fabric, but this gives you that overview of like with Copilot in Fabric, you can basically use natural language to get your job done no matter your role, right? So for example, whether you're using Data Factory and you're doing ETL, for example, ingesting data, building data pipelines, transforming that data with data flows, you'll have a Copilot. You'll have a Copilot if you're working with data warehousing, taking that data that's now landed in OneLake and building out a data model and writing out your T-SQL and all of that. There's a Copilot for that. If you're moving on to doing data engineering or data science and authoring Python code, there's a Copilot for that too, right? But essentially for every workload in Fabric, every experience, you should expect to see these experiences. For databases, it's the same thing. If you're working with OLTP databases, in Fabric with our new database experience, or even if you're using real-time data. Let's say you have event data that's landing through streams or landing in these event house KQL databases. You're going to have a Copilot for that too, authoring KQL queries. And last but not least, Power BI, right, Mo?
Yeah, can't wait to show the Power BI pieces. But everyone gets the Copilot.
Everyone essentially gets the Copilot, yes. That is true. And that's really what we wanted to cover on Copilot. And to be honest, we wanted to cover a lot more, but they gave us 45 minutes. We were like, okay, this audience probably has seen a lot of Copilot demos, and there's a lot of AI experiences that are not entirely Copilot based. So we also wanted to carve out some time for that. So we'll save the demos for another session, and happy to share links and other things with you afterwards. But let's move on, because what I cover right now, like I said, create reports, create notebooks, create SQL, all of these, create like data pipelines.
Create M.
All of these experiences have one thing in common, and it's like you're creating and developing something. So therefore, for the creators in Fabric. But what about other people, Mo? What about the consumers? What about the business users? What do we have for them?
We have many, many exciting things for business users. So the best way to show you what we do for business users is actually go through a demo. And I want to give you some context on this demo, and I'm going to get to the screen just to give you some context. So, and I can see the room now much clearer thanks to the white screen. So every year, we attend the Gartner Bake-Off. So Microsoft and our top 2 vendors attend. This year was Tableau and Oracle. So anyone who's in the leaders quadrant in Gartner goes to a conference, and they do a BI Bake-Off, like the British Bake-Off, if you guys have seen that show. They make us compete. They make us get on stage. They give us a data set and say, hey, ready, steady, bake. And then you have to then come up with the best analysis done in a short period of time. And the report or the demo I'm going to show you is exactly what I did live on stage. And we won pretty well. And the reason why I think we won so well this year is we showed everything being done with the help of AI and making my job easier as a user. And that was really the pitch. Now, this year's theme was on poverty data. So that's why you're going to see a lot of poverty theme. This isn't just the data set I just happened to think of. And you're going to see why I'm going to be talking about Italy. So I'm going to go in and then start the click through. So why did I pick Italy? Italy is 5th place when it comes to government public spending in terms of where they are in the EU countries. If you look at the population, they are 3rd place ranked, 3rd ranked. If you look at the next 2, they're 5th and also 3rd place. But when you look at poverty for Italy, you'll see that Italy ranks 44th in the list of the EU countries. And this isn't great. Now, you're probably wondering, why is that the case? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Power BI. I'm going to drill in and go to a different view where I can see all of Italy as a map. And I can look at poverty. And you'll see there's a large divide between the north and the south. Now, a lot of people believe it's because of the mafia. And sadly, that is not true. And what I'm going to do today is just show you how that's not true using AI. So now I could use Power BI. I could go through every single combination. So like, in this case, I go to, I think, government public spending, and I look at the types of road conditions here, I think, as part of one of the things. And you can kind of eyeball, like you can see the north has better road conditions. If I look at population, I look at how much of I have a basic education, you can start to see that there's a trend starting to form here, that there's other factors are here. Now, instead of me going through variable by variable and seeing the different trends, wouldn't it be great if AI could help me? And that's how I started my presentation. So I'm going to go to my next part, and I'm going to just expand the data view. So I'm in a blank new Power BI report. I'm going to expand the data view, and I'm going to just show you how unfriendly Gartner are to us. I've got 1,000 measures of socioeconomic factors for Italy, ranging from CO2 emissions, access to electricity, GDP, health, how much children have attained education. This list goes on, and look at how long that scroll bar is. Now, if I wanted to see what each one of these correlate with poverty, I would be there for a long time. And one thing you guys should know about me, I'm a very lazy employee. And so I would like AI to kind of help me do my job faster, better, and probably make it look like I did the job. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and open my Copilot pane. And when Copilot runs, the first thing I love about Copilot in Power BI is it allows you to get suggestions of what I can ask it. So the first thing I'm going to say is, hey, can you suggest me content for this report? Now, it's going to work its magic, and it's going to give me economic, trade, population, or health are some of the questions I can start doing with this data set. Without me doing anything, Copilot was able to figure that out. I'm going to ask Copilot to do GDP analysis. And one thing I love about Copilot is that it knows that GDP is the best way to measure an economic performance analysis of any country. And the great thing is it's a conversation. It didn't add in inflation. I really care about inflation. I can just ask my Copilot, can you add in inflation? And so I typed this very painfully in the presentation, make a couple of typos along the way, and then I hit enter. And the one thing I love about Copilot is, it, again, knows what inflation is. It brings in the inflation visual and actually updates the entire report content. So in this case, for me to kind of get all the visuals laid out beautifully, it will take me a long time. You know, like I stutter with my mouse sometimes. So Copilot really helped me with this experience here. Now, this is great. I've got my self-inflation. I've got my self-economic performance analysis. But on stage, Gartner were very mean, and they said, hey, can you analyze poverty with health? And I said, yes, I can. Guess what I did? I went to a new report page, I went to Copilot, and I just typed in the question. I didn't have to go and drag, drop, do many things. I just was able to type in that question, and I was able to hit enter. And again, I just love that Copilot looks at my question, looks at the data model. It says, out of those 1,000 measures, I was able to identify these key trends, and let me display them for you, all within about 5, 6 seconds. And this is real performance, by the way. So it does take 5 or 6 seconds as it goes for a very large model. And I kept in this so you guys can actually see the true performance. So none of this is like fake. And the one thing I want to draw your attention to, if you look at the top left corner, you can see there's this blue chart with poverty. And I just want to show you that I did not know prior to the demo that the best way to measure a country's performance for poverty is to look at how much of the population can survive on $6.85. The fact that Copilot was able to drag in the right measure. I had 25 things called poverty in my model. It dragged in the right thing because it knows and understands generic domains. This is the power of Copilot. Now, the great thing about Copilot is it also understands how you measure health. Look at government health expenditure, look at life expectancy, look at the prevalence of undernourishment, and look at infant mortality rate. It was able to bring all of those rich things in so I can start correlating them with my poverty metric. Now, because it's Copilot, it is meant to help me. So I can then relay out the content as I see fit. I can then make an edit report. It's not one like thing it does automatically. And then I can also use Copilot to generate me summaries. So my VP, who is here, who might be in the audience, doesn't like visuals, he likes text. He wants text summaries. So I can ask Copilot to summarize this entire page in a few bullet points, and I can give him this directly here. And the one thing I love about this is it also gives these little numbers. Actually, no. My VP likes short sentences, so I realized I made a mistake on stage. I said, my VP wants short sentences, and so I'm going to ask Copilot to give me short sentences. And so go through all those bullet points again and give me whole sentences so I can copy and paste them into my email. And there you go. Now, it also gives me these little numbers, these little 1s and 2s you can kind of see, 3s and 4s. If you click on the little things, it tells you which part of the summary came from which visual. So I can validate if the right answer was retrieved. And so you can see I kind of get trigger happy during the presentation. I show you every single possible icon I can see. So this is all great. But now Gartner asks you a different question. They say, hey, sometimes in meetings, your VP will ask you a question that you didn't prepare for. Or you may have prepared for it, but you didn't want to answer it straight away. And so in this case, my VP asked me, what year had the highest poverty rate? I can just type in that question. And what Copilot will do is look in my report, looking across all my reports, and return me the answer. And in this case, the answer happens to be on the page. But how many of you have many, many reports, and you just can't find where the answer is? Copilot can help you find the data in the relevant reports and return the results. Now, what I want to draw your attention to finally is sometimes your model author forgets to create a year-over-year calculation. It happens to all of us, happens to the best of us. Now, the great thing about Copilot is I can actually ask Copilot to generate me an on-the-fly year-over-year calculation for 2015, and I can apply a filter condition here, and now Copilot will return me results. No longer do I have to jump into Excel and do this calculation myself on the fly. I can do it directly inside my Copilot experience. And I get trigger happy here. I zoom in really in excitement as I want to just show you guys just how you can do all those calculations. So to kind of conclude, these are just some of the capabilities. I kind of went through a whirlwind tour of all the capabilities of Copilot in Power BI, of how we make getting analysis much faster from your data. And this is just some of the ways in which we're really enabling and using Copilot to really help you with that journey. Thanks. Over to you.
Oh, Mo.
I'll come back.
Mo, you're OK. All right. All right. Mo, do you want to cover your rest of your content? Or I can cover it too, but you know.
Whoops. I was so excited by the round of applause that I thought that was it.
Yeah.
It's over. It's over for me. Thank you. That was embarrassing. Hopefully it's not recorded. Yes, it is. OK, so we also have these cool data points in Copilot. So we recently did a 200-person survey to just see how well does a control versus people who had access to Copilot and people who didn't, how well they did. And so this, you might have seen this number before. It's in Arun's presentation as well, that we see out of the control, the people that had access to Copilot, 52% were faster than the control in actually doing and completing their task better using the Copilot experiences in Power BI. 36% were more accurate than the control. And 90% would highly or after they tested it, were likely to adopt the Copilot experience. So these are just some of the numbers that I just wanted to share based on our control to test of what we did. And these are really cool numbers that I want to share. Now, you may have heard of this thing called Fabric AI capacities. And I've had a lot of questions come up. And so I will spend a couple of minutes to kind of address a lot of the top questions that come up.
By the way, how many of you have actually used Fabric and know about Fabric capacities in general?
It's really hard to see the hands.
Yeah, it's really hard to see. I mean, we're not going to explain the capacities. You're just kind of curious.
Yeah. So today, I described this called the Satya problem. So Satya, the CEO of Microsoft, emailed us and was very unhappy with us. And he said, hey, why is it when I go into one workspace in Power BI, Copilot works, and that's because it has a premium capacity, and I go to a pro workspace, and sometimes my Copilot experiences doesn't work. And Satya didn't understand our licensing model, clearly. And so what we said was, like, actually, we have a gap here. We would like Satya to be licensed to Copilot so he can bill a capacity, but I don't care where his artifacts are. I don't care where his reports are. So Fabric AI capacities enables you to basically get a normal Fabric capacity and just say, I want to now attach this capacity to users. So wherever the users go, they will always build this capacity. And the great thing here is A, you can isolate all the Copilot usage to a single capacity if you want. But also, it means that those users don't need to think where their content is. So if you have content in Pro or in Premium, you don't have to make the conscious decision ahead of time that you're going to get Copilot or not. And so this is the pure benefit of Fabric AI capacities. It was announced today. It's releasing early next year. And I'm going to be super excited for when you guys start using it. And hopefully, we'll give us feedback for it as well.
Yes.
Now it's a round of applause.
That's so sneaky, Mo. You get like multiple rounds of applause. Yeah, but that's actually really, really cool, because another advantage of the Fabric capacities, AI capacities that Mo mentioned, is really that you don't have to worry about your Copilot work, like the questions and people bombarding, let's say, Copilot with questions about their data, that's going to compete with your kind of mission-critical workloads, right? So essentially, you get that isolation where you can isolate the AI away from other workloads, like your reporting workloads or data engineering, et cetera. That's super exciting. So now that you've seen kind of some demos of Copilot in Fabric and what it can do, at least one of the experiences, let's go and see what else you can do in Fabric with AI, right? And I saw some hands up earlier of people who have actually actively used Fabric. So I would really say that regardless if you're a code-first user, typing code every day or not, and using no-code experiences, we actually do have experiences in Fabric for you to be able to build your own agents, AI agents. Copilot essentially is an AI agent that we build, right? We in Microsoft, we in Fabric offer Copilot in Fabric, right? So we do all the prompt engineering, we do all the configurations, give all the tools, et cetera. But what about you? What if you want to build your own agent on top of your data, essentially an expert on that data? That's why we're going to talk about the AI skill in Fabric. So today, we have an experience in public preview that we call AI skill. And building an AI skill essentially means that you are building and customizing an expert on your data. So today, what we have in market that you may have seen, actually, let me ask you, how many of you have had a chance, have heard about the AI skill before in Fabric? I see some hands up. It's like the lights are super blinding, so it's hard to see, right? But some hands up, great. If you haven't, in market today, we have an experience where, as you can see on this slide, where you can go ahead, you can select one lakehouse or warehouse, and then you can essentially do Q&A over that and configure this expert to know about, the data with instructions. You can give it example queries. You can basically configure it to be able to answer the questions in the best possible way. And then you can share this with your consumers inside of Fabric, or use our private preview with Copilot Studio to integrate this expert into Teams, for example. So that is available for you today. But what I wanted to cover next in this session was to give you a glimpse of what is coming very soon, how we are evolving this agent, and there's some really exciting updates there. So let's talk about those. So this is essentially some roadmap items I'm going to show, but again, available very soon. You'll see some of these updates. So our AI skill is evolving. It's evolving to a true data agent on your data. An agent, an assistant, there are many names. Ultimately, they're the same thing. Some of the things that we're adding into our AI skill experience is that we are allowing creators in Fabric to be able to create an agent that is truly conversational, that actually maintains that conversational history and context, which allows it to just have a superior conversational experience, right? So this is a great improvement from what we have right now. But we're also adding other improvements. When you see the new evolved AI skill, you're also going to be able to see an evolution in the chat canvas. We're adding new abilities for debugging. The agent is going to be able to walk you through step by step the reasoning behind a specific answer. So it's not only about giving you a query, this is how I retrieved the answer, but this is how I understood your question. These are the steps that I took, and I'm going to show you some of this in a demo in a bit. Another key improvement, probably the most exciting one, if you ask me, is really the ability to add multiple data sources. Because you know, when you're building an expert on your data, it's rarely that all of your data, all of that expertise and knowledge sits in one single database or in one single file like that, right? This is usually spread across many sources. So the new evolved AI skill will actually be able to reason across multiple sources. So not only are you able to add multiple lakehouses or warehouses, you will actually also be able to add semantic models and event house KQL databases. And in the fullness of time, any data in one lake will be possible to reason over for an AI skill. And last but not least, if you build an AI skill, obviously you want it to be consumed, right? You want to, let's say, I built this expert, I now want it to be consumed maybe from Teams, or I want it to be consumed from Copilot, or Azure AI Foundry, or even just a REST endpoint that I can use for my custom applications. Let's say you're already building your own Copilot outside of the Microsoft stack. You may want to have that Copilot be able to invoke an agent and say, hey, give me an answer of this, or do this. That's what we are enabling you to do. So those are all really exciting updates. But let me show you what it looks like. But before we do, just wanted to walk you through the steps, because it's super, super simple to create an AI skill. The hard part is really encapsulating that domain knowledge and having that domain knowledge and providing that in a way so that the AI can use that for its expertise. So the steps are really simple to create an AI skill, and you're going to see that in a bit. So the first step is obviously to create this new item in the workspace. And the beauty of creating items in the Fabric workspace is that you get a lot of things just, for free. You automatically get the tracking of the lineage. You automatically get permissions that you can manage and access control. And you can share this with other users for collaboration of creating an AI skill or just for sharing for consumption, right? And then you add the sources. Even if it's multiple sources, it's still kind of a step where you kind of scope it down to specific tables. And you have some configurations at your disposal, right? So you can actually instruct the AI to say, hey, always answer in this tone, I don't know. Or maybe say for these type of questions, always go to this data source. Or if someone is asking about this specific topic, always refer them to this person, right? Don't attempt to answer these questions yourself, right? All of these instructions you can provide to the AI, but you can also give it example queries or example questions and answers to say, well, for this type of question, always use this optimized query, because I know this query works. This is the one I use when people ask me this, so please use this question, right? So you can instruct the AI to do these things. And once you're done, you publish the AI skill, and once you've published it, then it's available for consumption. So talking about the consumption experiences today, I mentioned you can share it today inside of Fabric, just with other creators, or just as a view mode kind of chat experience. You can use it in private preview in Copilot Studio. public preview soon. And through Copilot Studio, you can basically publish a custom Copilot using an AI skill as a knowledge source. And you can publish this to any of the channels that Copilot Studio supports, one of them being Microsoft Teams, right? There are many, many more. And some exciting upcoming things that I'm going to show you is also an integration with the Power BI Copilot. We also have Azure AI Foundry, essentially Azure AI Agent Service, Azure AI Studio used to be called. That service integration is coming very soon as well as a REST endpoint for your AI skill. All right, so let's take a look. So if we look at the AI skill today, you can create one in the workspace. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to go and create an AI skill here. This is a Fabric workspace, and it's an item. So here I'm going to search for that AI. There are many, many different item types that you can use. So you can see here that that's an AI skill. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a name. And in this case, I'm going to call it Customer Expert, right? Because I want to build an expert on customer data. And the first thing I have to do is to add a source. So this is one of the new updates that's coming. You can actually add event house KQL databases. So if you have such databases, you can actually add that, so you can reason over that data too. So here you see that I have a KQL database with deliveries. And I'm going to go ahead and select that one table that I had in this case, which was packages, but could be multiple, right, that I select. And I'm going to just immediately, without any config, ask it, hey, break down the package delivery trips per month. Which month has the most deliveries? Just to kind of see, feel it out a bit, right? You can see here that the agent gives me kind of a breakdown of the months and the steps it took and a KQL query. And that's great, because I didn't know KQL, right? KQL is amazing for statistical analysis. So the AI skill can now use a specific tool, natural language to KQL, to also give me the 99th percentile of package delivery trip distances. And look, it was just like a one-line KQL. That's amazing. Now I'm going to go ahead and add multiple sources, right? So I'm going to go ahead and add the lakehouse. We already support lakehouses today, but now I have multiple sources, right? And I'm going to go ahead and add a semantic model. And these two contain customer loyalty data and customer sales data. So now I have multiple sources, right? But I'm going to go ahead and select some tables. In the semantic model, in this case, I didn't have too many tables. But in the lakehouse, I have many, many tables. So I'm going to scope it down for the AI. It generally performs better the more scoped and domain-specific you are. And you can see here that this semantic model has my measures. It has everything that I need. So I'm going to go ahead, and without any config yet, right, ask it, what's the name of the top loyalty customer? I didn't say where to go, right? And the assistant now has to figure out which source should I go to. It's using that schema information. In this case, the name of the semantic model kind of gave it away. It gives me the steps and the DAX query that it used to provide the answer. That's great. But I'm also going to ask, hey, what else can you tell me about him, this Teodoro person, the top loyalty customer? And now the assistant is scanning across the different sources and saying, well, the lakehouse in this case actually had tons of information about Teodoro. So it's going to go ahead, use the name of my customer, could have been an ID, right? And go and query that information from a lakehouse. And in this way, if I were to add instructions, as you see in the top, I could have always instructed my AI to always use the lakehouse or always use a specific source, for example. And then I'm going to go back and say, hey, what were his recent deliveries? And now the AI is figuring out that I have to go to the KQL database. I have to basically use that name, query over the deliveries to get that answer. And I wanted to show you this because, realistically, you would have to configure an agent, right? I would have to go and provide example queries, instructions, and really kind of do this prompt engineering. But without any configuration, I can actually get to a really terrific baseline, and then I can work my way up from there. So that's the new evolved AI skill. So creators are creating these AI skills. That's amazing. And it's a collaborative effort. I would really say that. You probably do need your business users involved, kind of like really that domain expertise to be able to configure this AI skill. But you always want to make sure that your consumers can get to these experiences too, right? And one exciting sneak peek that we have is a sneak peek of the AI skill integrated with the Power BI immersive Copilot. So Copilot in Fabric is not just going to exist in the individual artifacts, right? It's not just if I go into the report that I'm going to be able to work with Copilot in Fabric. We're introducing Copilot in Fabric in places, essentially, where users just go in to discover data, to find the right data, as Mo mentioned, right? So on the Power BI Home, there will be a Copilot that's going to help users to be able to discover and find the right data, which is amazing. But what we have done is that we've integrated AI skills into that experience, which means that now users can not only query over reports and semantic models, but also be able to find any other data that may exist, because you may have these experts sitting around in your Fabric workspaces being able to answer those questions. So what Copilot is going to do is it's going to dispatch certain questions to these agents. So let's take a sneak peek look at what this will look like. So in the home, in Fabric, for example, you see here that I'm in the Power BI Home. I can go ahead and ask, where can I find information about customer loyalty, right? I don't know where it is, so help me with that. And you can see here that the AI skill is one of the item types that this Copilot is going to be able to identify. Now I can go ahead and ask the same question we asked before, saying, who's the top loyalty customer? And we can get that answer here, so we don't have to necessarily figure out which AI skill would I need to go to. And you can see here that the AI skill here is referenced. So you can go directly to it if you want more details, but it kind of gives you that quick insight that you may need. Awesome. So with this, I think it's time for you to hear from one of our customers about their experience using AI skills in Fabric. So I want to welcome Kelly on stage from EY to come and share their experiences and learnings with us.
Hey, thank you very much. Okay, so I've got 2 missions that I want to achieve in the next 10 minutes. The first one is I want everyone to leave this presentation thinking that actually tax is the #1 place to go for AI use cases. And my second mission is to share some unexpected benefits we have found of using AI skills. So I'm Kelly, I'm a partner at EY, I'm a tax person, so I guess I'm what you'd call a business user, Nellie. So I do tax returns, I'm not a technical person. Who are EY? We're a professional services organization. We're in 150 countries. We've got 400,000 employees, and we turn over $50 billion of revenue a year. About a quarter of that is our tax practice. So our tax practice is large. And depending on how you measure large, we're either the largest or the second largest, but we're big. So first mission, you are going to be a tax person for a couple of minutes. Let me take you through the complex data ecosystem that we operate in tax. So, first of all, you need to work out what rules apply to you. So if you're a multinational organization, you might have 190 countries you're operating in. There's over 10,000 different regulators. And actually, when you take countries, jurisdictions, regulators, states, cantons, councils, I could go on, there's over 100,000 different bodies which might be generating rules and regulations which you need to make sure your company follows. So you've got to keep on top of that, and we don't like to keep it still either. We like to update and change the rules. We like case law, so that's constantly moving. So imagine you're managing that. Then you've got to work out what data do I need to apply those rules to. And you can all quietly think of your own data and just how easy it is to find the data, who owns the data and get access to it. I'm sure it's great quality as well, but imagine you've got all of the rules, you've now got hold of the data. Your tax team then need to do the tax work, so they're going to combine the two and they're going to generate another data set. You need to then store that data set, make sure you comply with those laws of how long you store it. You might get audited, it might be a couple of months after you file your return, it could be years and years and years after you file your return. It depends. So there's a heck of a lot of data moving, changing in tax. And if I've not convinced you yet that there might be some interesting use cases for your tax department, the last point, of course, is that tax is a high cost to companies. I'm sure you are aware of that, but there's lots of different ways to measure cost. If I keep it fairly simple, if you look at a large multinational, if you look at all of the different taxes that they will suffer, the tax cost is generally about 40% of profit. So it costs a lot of money. It's high risk. You don't want to get it wrong. It takes a long time to comply. We've got structured data, unstructured data. There are a heck of a lot of use cases in your tax department. So that's my first mission. So hopefully some of you may reach out to your tax teams. Let me tell you a little bit about EY and our journey using Microsoft Fabric. And I'll talk about this more as a business user rather than a technical user. So we're early on our journey, and there are a few things which we're already seeing having a really positive impact on our business users. So for example, OneLake, we've got lots of different data sources. Being able to mirror that in OneLake and make it simple for the end user is really important for us, as is governance, security, access controls, and managing that through Purview is also increasing. So our usage of Fabric is expanding all the time. And of course, we'll talk about AI. Let's talk about how we've been using AI skills. So I think everyone has seen it's a lovely snowy day today in Chicago, but now you're going to go to California in June, Mountain View, Microsoft offices. In June, we did a hackathon with Microsoft. We took some of our technical team and business users. And the primary objective of that was to take some baseline tests and see, actually, how would it do? How would AI skills do? So, testing AI skills. I'll start with some measurable outcomes, which I don't think are too surprising. And then I want to move on to my second mission and talk a little bit about some of the unexpected benefits we're finding using AI skills. So measurable. AI skills was much faster than me at doing the calculations, and it was incredibly accurate and it was consistent. Once the business users had spent the time giving the AI skill the context and training it sufficiently, it was incredibly consistent. Those might not be surprising outcomes. What I found more interesting, and my mission two, unexpected outcomes of using AI skills, was actually how it's enabled the business and the technology team to collaborate. So sometimes I find, you might find this in your own organization, that the business user and the technology users, there's some tension between the two teams. Sometimes we talk completely different languages, and at the moment, we're all being asked, what are your AI use cases? What should we prioritize? What should we invest in? And to get to the right answer, you need both the business input and the technical input. Using AI skills was brilliant. We found actually our tech team were able to use it to get the business to understand what they need to input to get an AI skill to work. What information do they need to bring? How do they continue training it? How do they maintain it? And it's been a light bulb moment for us. And coming out of those sessions, the business users are much better equipped to articulate what their use cases are and also start focusing on achievable use cases. It's also been great fun. We can do some quite short sessions with business users. We've been doing some longer ones, but it's been a brilliant mechanism for us to break down those barriers and actually work together. So that was my second mission. I said I had two. I'll wrap up just to tell you a little bit about what we're thinking of with our future vision for our people and how AI skills might enable our people. So first, it's all about enabling access to information, giving that conversational interface that you spoke about previously, Nellie. We want things to be really intuitive for the business user so they can just get the information and also understand how the AI is getting to that answer. Again, I think, Nellie, you spoke about that just before this session. During this phase, we've spoken a lot about prompts at Ignite, so big change management for our business users. We rebranded in EY quite a few years ago. We used to be Ernst & Young, and in 2016 we launched a new campaign, which is still a big part of our brand, which is the better the question, the better the answer. So that's aged fantastically for us now in this space of prompts. After enabling people, we want to quickly move on to actually, rather than enable, can we augment them? Can we make everyone a little bit more awesome? So can you wake up in the morning and you've just got an email in your inbox to say, hey, other people like you are asking these queries of the data, so we've run those for you. Are these helpful? There are certain patterns and trends we look for in tax, which may be indicators of risk. They may be indicators of opportunity. And again, we can start proactively providing those to our people and in the future to our clients to say, hey, you might want to look at this. So it's been a really interesting journey for us over the last few months using AI skills. We think there's a lot to come. And with that, I'll hand back to Microsoft, who can take you through what's happening next.
Thank you so much, Kelly.
Thank you.
Thank you. Awesome. So everyone use AI skills and Copilot and everything else, right? Emo, come on back. So we're going to wrap up the session with some roadmap items. So we covered Copilot for creators, for consumers. We covered AI skills. But there's more. We actually didn't have to cover everything. So coming soon, we also have something for those of you who write code. Any notebook users in the room?
I see a few.
Woo! OK, great. We have some. That's awesome. We're introducing ways to also not only get insights from data in a way where, like you have a chat interface, but you may actually have solutions where you need to do data engineering. I know all of you do data engineering, though. And you may need to enrich that data with Gen AI as part of those data type pipelines. So what we are introducing very soon in public preview, early 2025, super early, hopefully, is AI functions. AI functions essentially allow you to, with one line of code, to enrich and transform data using Gen AI. We're going to give you some pre-baked Gen AI functions, but also some generic ones where essentially you can take a data frame and you can ask the AI to say, hey, add a column and classify my product reviews and add a new column and add the classification categories. Give me the sentiment, fix the spelling in this column. We have a set of these pre-baked functions that are coming so you can use them on pandas, basically using Python and PySpark. So stay tuned for that for massively scalable Gen AI transformations, basically, to any data engineer out there. And they're super simple. I'm not a data engineer, and they're dead simple to use. So that's one key announcement, so stay tuned for that. And let's go over kind of a summary of our roadmap, right, Mo?
Cool, yeah. Can we give a round of applause for Nellie? Because yes. I feel just...
Thank you.
And again, no, just joking.
No.
So I'm going to cover the roadmap. So what you've seen is a lot of cool capabilities today. So please pull out your phones, take pictures of the presentation. And in terms of what's new, we didn't show this today, but we did release Copilot in mobile apps. So now you can get a summary on the go as you're driving into work. You can now hear the important data points. You also saw the enhanced report creation that I showed you earlier today. And we just released Fabric databases, which will also have a Copilot experience that we didn't show you today. In terms of the coming soon, Nellie went through AI functions. We have AI skills, all the enhancements coming to AI skills, releasing very, very soon. And also the integration with the AI Foundry service, and also Fabric AI capacity. And then finally, bringing it all together, a central place, a home experience for all of your Copilot questions called Immersive Copilot, which will be available in Power BI and Fabric in the early new year. So that's our roadmap. I want to remind you of just other sessions and resources that you guys should attend. Some of these sessions have happened. Some of them are in tomorrow. So the Power BI and Microsoft Fabric session is tomorrow, which I'll be there going through some more Copilot goodness. And if you want to stay tuned, the Fabric roadmap actually is being updated this week. So you'll see a brand new roadmap of what we're going to be doing in the next year. And so you'll get to see all of the cool announcements that we've made here, and even some that we haven't announced yet will be in the Fabric roadmap session as well, or on the web page as well. And then finally, we have a new FabCon date. So FabCon was this year was the first time we did FabCon. We are going to continue doing FabCon until they kick us out, and it is at Vegas. Please come. It's March 31st. There will be a lot of announcements for Fabric, including AI and Copilot. Me and Nellie will be there.
Yes.
And we'll be happy to share some of the most amazing things what we're doing with Copilot going forward. And I just wanted to say a huge thank you to everyone. Please give us feedback, and yeah, please, thank you.